Right, okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to create a tile map from scratch, if I can remember off the top of my head. Right, so I'm just in the template. I'm just going to do it in the title screen again. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to call it dynamic map. So new dynamic, right, it's putting the picker up. I don't want any of that, so I'll press escape. Dynamic, no, can't spell that. That's dynamic map. So I don't need to give any of the information, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I did in the spawning video. I'm going to store a reference to this. So I'm actually telling the compiler that that is going to be a tile map. So when I do control full stop and press enter, it should create that for me. So I'm just going to delete the tile map bit. Look a bit down that and you see it's inherited for me. Now it hasn't got the other libraries, so I'm just going to include all these system and XNA libraries, whether they're needed or not for now. So I don't have to worry about color and any other things that might put in here. Right, so I need to create a constructor. So I'm going to say public dynamic map. It should come up. It's not going to have any data. Okay, now my first job is to set the size of the map. So I'm going to say set map. And I need to say how big each tile is going to be. So let's do tiles 20 by 20. So that's 20 pixels across, 20 pixels on. And then I need to say how big do I want the tile map to be. So I'm going to go 40 by, well, I don't know, 40 by 30. Now we've got to be careful here because it's the row first and then the number of columns. So I want 30 rows, 40 columns. Okay. What I must make sure I do is I add this to the tile map manager. So I say add this. I'll do that first. Should really be the first thing I did. Okay. Now I need to define some tiles. So I'm just going to define. So I'm just going to create a subroutine. Create. I don't want the picker on, so I'll get rid of that. Escape. Create tiles. Press Control Dot. Do it. And I'm just going to create my tiles. So I'm just going to say my tile list equals new array of tiles. And then I'm going to define the array of tiles. So say new tile. And again, I'm going to, if you saw my other video, you see that I'm going to use this rectangle 50 by 50. And because I've done it after I've set the map, I'm running create tiles after I've set the map. I should be able to say new rectangle, no, and then tile width and tile height. And I'm just going to give them a couple of colors. So I'm going to say color dot white for the first one and color dot black. So black, I'm just going to have two tiles. Okay. And then I'm going to create a subroutine to spawn the map because by default I won't have anything. Okay. Although let's run it. Let's just run it and see what we've got. Actually, we should have a load of floor tiles because it fills it with zeros by default. So there you go. I'm going to just center that tile map. So I'm going to say center tile map just in my constructor. And I need to tell it what I'm centering it over. So I'm going to say gm.screen size just to fit it in the center. So run it again. And then I'll show you how to set a tile. So I'm going to create a couple of constants. So I'm going to have constant int. So these are just at the top of the class. So g floor equals not constant int g block, I'll call it, equals 1. Okay, right. So after I've generated my tiles, I can start creating tiles. So I'm going to just say generate map. Now, obviously, if you're doing a dynamic generator, it's going to be a bit more complicated than this. So, but I'm just going to create a method just to show you how to set tiles. There's a couple of ways, and I'll show you both. So we can use set graphic. to define a position. So we can say new point. See, if you don't know what you've got to put in here, you can look. It actually says point and then int. So we say new point and then we say a position. So let's do, so it's X and Y. So I'm going to put one in the top left-hand corner. And the tile I'm going to put is a block. That's the black tile. Okay, so just run that, just make sure that works, and you'll see that there's a black tile in the top left-hand corner. I could also set it directly. Okay, so the actual tilemap is stored in this, and you can see it's just an array of integers. If you use this method, you've got to error check yourself, and you have to bear in mind that you put the row and the column. So if I want to do the right-hand side, that's going to be row 0, but it's going to be column 39 because there's 40 columns. So I can set that directly to G block because it's just an integer. So let's run that, and I should have one in the top right-hand corner. If I set something that's out of bounds, we'll generate an exception. So if we try that, 49 doesn't exist, column 49, so it'll throw an error. There you go, out of range exception. So if you're going to do the map raw, which is fine because it's fast, then you must make sure you error check your stuff. So they're the two ways of generating the maps. Obviously you can use loops, so we can say for double tab. Let's say we go, let's call it col. Col equals, and we're going to go all the way down column. So I'm going to say column count, and I'm just going to say set graphic new, oops, wrong parentheses there, new point. So I'm going to do this col and let's do a row 9, so 10 down, and we're going to set that to G block. Okay, so let's see what that does. That should do a horizontal row 10 down. There you go. So you can do that. We could use the map setting one. Let's do that. Let's do another row somewhere down. So map, let's do it at row 16, col. So just to show you the syntax really, the fact that it's a row major 2D array. So that'll do another one about 6 further down. There you go. That's just my mouse character there. And that's it. That's how you generate maps. Obviously, you need a nice algorithm to generate the map properly. Okay, that's it.